So I was gonna do today's video with this damn Santa in the background, but it's making so much noise that I think Santa has to go bye-bye. Bye. Alright, on to the video. Yeah, we're just gonna ignore the passed out Santa in the background, but welcome here to Hot Takes, the show where I sit down and I talk about Monday Night Raw, and I hear all the stupid stuff that you have to say. Because every single week I ask you over on Twitter to submit your hot takes, your bold predictions, your thoughts, concerns, or whatever else you have to say about the show. And there was a lot submitted last night. We had like 182 responses right now as of the recording of this video, and they're still pouring on in, which is awesome. A lot of people thought that was one of the greatest episodes of Monday Night Raw this year. So there's a lot to break into. But before we get into this thing, make sure you leave a like on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back every single day because we upload wrestling videos every single day. All right, let's read your hot takes. This was one of the best Raws of the year. Yeah, oh my God, that Raw was absolutely incredible. From start to finish, I don't think there was a moment of wasted time. Like, the first half hour was completely commercial free, and we got 41 minutes of commercial free action. And then another like 12, 13 minutes for the New Day segment, completely uninterrupted. A banger main event with so many interesting plot points and places to go with the story. My goodness, that Raw cooked. Like, especially that opening segment with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and then dragging in Sami Zayn and Jey Uso into the story, and combining all of your main eventers around a logical point. Like, it's just, oh my God, it was so good. Like, I think the best part about this Monday Night Raw was that literally everything made sense. Like, everybody had a reason for why they were acting the way that they were. Sami Zayn was right in his point of view. Seth Rollins was right in his point of view. CM Punk was right in his point of view. The returning Drew McIntyre is right in his point of view. He's not done with everything that's going on yet. So, like, I don't know what else to say other than great job, Triple H. Great job, WWE Creative, and everybody involved, especially the performers. That was a fantastic episode of Raw. I don't know why I clapped so many times right there. Like, even the World Heavyweight title picture, which I know not everybody is thrilled about, I liked their reasoning. I liked the way that we're building to it. At least it's kind of making sense on the surface, and it might be leading to more than just a one-on-one match between Finn Balor and Gunther. I would personally love a triple threat. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But just such an incredible episode of Raw. There's so much to get into, so let's look at more hot takes. Woods and Kofi turning on E makes no sense. The two characters they have been for the past few years wouldn't be like that to him, and not enough has changed, especially in Kofi, for it to make any sense. So I understand that the New Day turn is very difficult to digest right now. It's so fresh, the wound is wide open, and it went in a different direction than all of us were expecting. Like, I know some people predicted that the New Day was going to unite against Big E, but like, majority of people were thinking it was going to be some sort of turn between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And so for them to go in the direction of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods uniting against Big E, it's definitely a swerve, and it's difficult to see why this is probably the right call. But if we think about it, I don't think either Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods would thrive by themselves at the very moment. We'd probably see a feud between them, and then afterwards, one of them would be elevated, one of them would be dropped down the card. Neither of them deserve to be dropped down the card, so keeping them together, reinvigorating them as a heel group, and going in a new direction than we've seen from the New Day in their whole 10 years is very intriguing for me. Yes, my heart hurts, okay? I was not ready for them to ditch Big E. I was not ready for them to say, so what? You got a freaking broken neck. Who cares? Like, that was heartbreaking. It was incredibly difficult to listen to. But now we've got Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods on the same page. They understood why they were bickering and why they were fighting with each other, why they were blaming each other, because the person that wasn't there was the one holding them back, and they were waiting for Big E to return. They were waiting for this man to come back so that they continue being the New Day, but he isn't coming back. He's not on the verge of returning, or at least that's what the story says. So it makes a lot of sense if you really look at it, that Kofi and Xavier would be frustrated. They're fed up. They want to go and do more, but they were waiting for Big E to come back, and the fact that he just returned out of the blue without talking about it beforehand, without reaching out in any given way, saying like, hey, I just want to be your manager because you guys are fighting. Like, I get why they're like, Where was this a year ago? Where was this a year and a half ago? You didn't need surgery, but now you want to come back? Now you want to roll back in as soon as things are not looking great between us? We needed you, E, and you weren't there. Like, honestly, if you really look at it, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are right. Big E, yeah, I wish Big E would come back, and I wish Big E was healthy, but if he's not, he's got to be honest to everybody, the fans and the New Day, that he's not coming back so that everybody can move forward. Like, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston really have just been on a treadmill for the last couple of years, just spinning in the same place. They're on that hamster wheel, not going anywhere. And now that Big E shows up, says, I'll be your manager, as soon as everything is not good, like, I get why they snapped. But this also almost feels like they were already upset going into this segment and that they used Big E as like a scapegoat, right? They realized while they were there in the ring that we don't like fighting against each other. We want to be friends. We want to be on the same page. I mean, granted, they were about to announce a divorce in front of the entire WWE universe. Like, our New Day parents were getting a divorce, but they didn't go in that route as soon as Big E showed up. Like, in a weird way, Big E saved the New Day. But I do think that this has to also lead to maybe the return of Big E. I don't really understand why he would be interjected back into this feud right now if they didn't have any plans to bring Big E back. Unless he really is out of action for the rest of his career. And like, if that's so, that sucks. And like, I really want to see Big E back. So like, that really sucks if he's done for the rest of his career. But going in this direction of using Big E as a catalyst to turn the New Day heel, when you know that there would be really no other way to turn the New Day heel with the fans, because the fans just love the New Day, having them turn their back on Big E, the person that the fans adore, the fans are cheering for, that they want to see come back, it gives a little bit of a logical reason why we're going to boo Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. All in all, though, this story is, oh, it's so good, so damn good. The delivery was perfect on Monday Night Raw, and I'm so excited to see where we're going with this. We should all have a newfound appreciation for anything Karrion Kross does in WWE, knowing that sooner or later, plot twists like these are what will await whoever his opponents are. Karrion Kross has been one of the most underappreciated characters in WWE for quite some time now, and slowly but surely fans are starting to get more and more behind him. He recently did an interview with XAVIER where a lot of people were opened up to what Karrion Kross is all about, and a lot of people are getting behind this man, so much so that they're looking deep into the story that's going on with Karrion. And if you take a look at this tweet right here, this is very interesting that the long-term storytelling of Karrion Kross has been top tier for a long time. From the hourglass predicting the end of the bloodline, taking away Drew's temperament, leading it to a heel turn, taking Mysterio's patience away, leading to Rey Mysterio versus Dominik Mysterio, taking away Nakamura's honor so that he turned heel. He targeted Styles, who returned shortly after with a new persona. There was some words spoken about a prophet is nothing without his disciples that Karrion Kross spoke 6 months before his feud with the Wyatts, like that group over there, and something about Scarlett claiming everything Karrion Kross touches dies as the New Day feuds end and the New Day starts to disintegrate in front of our very eyes. He also got the Miz to turn on R-Truth. Everything that Karrion Kross is doing right now in WWE is insane, and it's a bigger picture story. Like, it's not just about the day-to-day feuds that he's in. It's about the bigger, larger story, the bigger picture. And it's crazy too, because he literally replied to this tweet bowing, saying like, yeah, that's my character, man. Arguably one of the deepest characters in the entire roster that you could almost consider Karrion Kross to be WWE's Dr. Doom. He's got the larger picture always in mind, and I wonder if 2025 might be the year of Karrion Kross. His presence was sorely missed, and I speak for everyone when I say the WWE is better when he's around. Yes, Drew McIntyre did return at the end of Monday Night Raw, and I am so happy to have him back. He is absolutely one of the top tier acts in WWE, and anytime Drew McIntyre is on Monday Night Raw, it adds so much to the overall program. Now, him coming back at the end of Monday Night Raw really does leave us us with a little bit of a cliffhanger after we thought we knew who attacked Jey Uso. We thought maybe it was Seth Rollins, but then it was revealed that Seth Rollins, or at least Seth Rollins says it wasn't him, and then a returning Drew McIntyre later in the night makes it seem like Drew McIntyre might have been the guy to attack Jey Uso. But remember what Drew McIntyre says, that unless it comes from his mouth, never assume anything about Drew. I wonder if Seth is maybe just trying to add some friction to the whole Punk storyline going on. Maybe there's something more at play, like who knows. But I don't trust what Seth Rollins said. I like the idea that he's trying to blame Punk, saying like, have you spoke to CM Punk about this? And what if it was Punk? Like maybe it was. Maybe this was Punk saying, hey, I'm not done with the bloodline stuff, and just because I teamed with you, Jey Uso, doesn't mean that I have to like you. And like, there's a few other names that it could be if it's not Drew McIntyre. Like, we could look deep into it and say, well, what about Kevin Owens? Could maybe Kevin Owens be roaming around backstage attacking everybody associated with Roman Reigns right now? Like, that's definitely a possibility. However, it does seem like a bit of a jump away from the Cody Rhodes storyline that we have going on in the whole Randy Orton debacle and all of that. But it is definitely a possibility that KO could be pissed that Sami Zayn and Jey Uso tagged alongside of Roman Reigns once again. Like, that's definitely a possibility. In fact, I imagine KO is really pissed that Sami Zayn tagged alongside of Roman Reigns. But unless there's like a big swerve coming up, it probably makes a lot of sense that Drew McIntyre is going after everybody who tagged alongside of the bloodline. Like, it makes a lot of sense. He's not quite done with CM Punk, and CM Punk was the guy who came back to tag alongside of them. And so now maybe Drew McIntyre's like, hey, I have to take you out. I have to take you out. Like Jay, Jimmy, Sammy, I have to take out Punk again. Like, I have to take out everybody, and then eventually he gets another shot at Roman Reigns. Like, that definitely could be a direction he goes in. But let me know your thoughts. Who do you think attacked Jey Uso? Was it Drew McIntyre? Was it somebody else? Because I honestly, I think it's okay for me to say this. I don't know actually who it was, and that's why I need to tune in next week to Monday Night Raw to find out. Dominik once again holding his own and standing strong against Gunther, and getting cheers along with Dirty Dom chants. I know I'm biased, but he is definitely going to carry a title again soon. Is it actually time to start pushing the narrative for Dominik Mysterio to capture singles gold in WWE? It might actually be after that performance against Gunther. I know there's been some people singing his praise for a long time. Santi's up. But now, you know, I got to admit, over the last few months, I am seeing what people are seeing in Dominik Mysterio as a top tier act. There's a reason why he was #1 on ESPN's 30 Under 30. This guy is an absolute gem, and I was lucky enough to meet him actually in person all the way back at Money in the Bank. He came up to the suites that we were in, and that was pretty sick for all of 5 minutes to stand there and see him just take photos with everybody. I complimented his stash. He had a good little chuckle, you know, just casual shit. But the dude is an absolute gem, and the way that he performed against Gunther on Monday Night Raw, chopping him so hard that Gunther's chest was actually bloodied, is insane. We know that Dominik Mysterio studies the luchador style, and so clearly he's watched a bunch of luchadors deliver those overhand chops through the years, but he truly embraced being a luchador in this match against Gunther, and he went to war against him. So much so that Dominik Mysterio has put himself into contention for a singles title. I don't know if it's the right time to put the World Heavyweight Championship on him right now. In fact, it probably is the very wrong time to pull the trigger, unless you just want to have this crazy surprise moment with Dominik Mysterio winning the title out of nowhere. But the likely direction for him should be to push him against Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship and have Dominik Mysterio be the one who dethrones Braun. And I also wonder if Dominik Mysterio is close to getting that babyface push alongside of it. Like, we see people are starting to support Liv Morgan a little bit more, and people supporting Dominik Mysterio a little bit more, and people are actually really getting tired of Rhea Ripley as a result. So like, I wonder, is Dominik and Liv on the verge of turning babyface, or at least this tweener type of role that the fans are actually going to root for? It could happen, and we could see Dominik Mysterio pushed up in towards the Intercontinental Championship picture, maybe even the world title picture. But let me know, guys, are you feeling the Dom effect? Because like, my goodness, he's He looked great in that match, didn't he? This match should be the main event and shouldn't have a clear winner, but some sort of plot at the end that leads to a sequel. It would be a shame if this was the only match we get between them, and they should get a PLE match by the end of this. I personally think it's kind of a shame that we didn't get the Wyatts versus the Final Testament in some form at Survivor Series. It's kind of the reason why a lot of people want to see the classic 5v5 or even 4v4 elimination style Survivor Series match return on the big show every single year, and people are saying that maybe War Games doesn't always need to be there because the classic elimination matchup is pretty damn entertaining. But I will say this, there has been an interesting part here about the Wyatt 6 since coming back to WWE. Their focus has been on Monday Night Raw. They have been all about focusing at the main event and people on Monday Night Raw, and they're not necessarily a PLE showcase. It's more like these are the guys that are going to main event the shows where we are building up future big time matchups, and we don't necessarily want to use, say, a Seth Rollins or a Sami Zayn or a Jey Uso or a Drew McIntyre or blah 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 in the main event scene that night. This is a group that elevates other people that are feuding against them because the group itself is so cool, and the more that we make it a mystery when they show up on Monday Night Raw, when they're actually going to be there, the more invested we are in this overall group. And as a result, I think they are more effective in the main event scene of a Monday Night Raw than just thrown in the middle of the card of a PLE. When the Wyatt 6 are on the show, it is more so about the Wyatt 6, and it's not necessarily about everything else that is going on Monday Night Raw. They are the center point. They are the main talking point of the night because everything that happens with the Wyatt 6, there's these tiny little details that you need to pay attention to. And so much so, there's a bunch of YouTubers out there like C Wrestling, big old shout out to him, who really dive deep into all these little tiny details and break it down for us. And so like it's a lot of attention that goes into these segments. And I imagine the same is going to be with this main event match. I imagine it's going to be a main event match between the Wyatts and the Final Testament and Miz. It should be a good one that maybe closes the chapter on this feud, or maybe is just the starting point, like there is maybe a DQ or a false some sort of finish or whatever, and then they lead to another big time match. It does feel like we are missing out on the opportunity of having Scarlett and Nikki Cross both be in this thing and it being a 10-person tag team match, but maybe that's the next step, right? Maybe that's the next direction we go, is that it's actually going to be a 5v5 matchup or something along those lines. Regardless, I am so interested in seeing this feud unfold in front of our eyes, and I can't wait to see what happens on Monday Night Raw next week. Just give me any thoughts that you have with the Wyatts right now. What's their next direction after this? What is the feud with the Final Testament all about for the Wyatts? Because if we really look at it, every time Karrion Kross, like we mentioned, every time he feuds with somebody, people change. Is he changing the Wyatt 6 right in front of our eyes? I could be wrong, but I feel like this tournament is a bit more predictable, which isn't a bad thing, but I feel it's very obvious that Raquel and Lyra will make it to the finals. I don't know about obvious, but I do know that the Intercontinental Championship tournament certainly has favorites. If we look at the bracket, Dakota Kai is already advanced. We're probably going to see Raquel Rodriguez advance from the group of Zoe Stark and Kaden Carter. We're probably going to see like a Kairi Sane advance out of Alba Fire and Natalya, but they could also roll with a Natalya because like she's a veteran and maybe deserves an opportunity to be IC champion. And then Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, or Ivy Nile. The grouping right there doesn't seem to favor Zelina Vega. It really doesn't look great for her, but you never know. Maybe there's more of a story going on with Lyra Valkyria. We saw a little tease about like the life of the party. It's maybe there's something going on there. But just me saying that right there doesn't make it obvious, right? Like I look at this and I say Zelina Vega could potentially win over Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria could win that thing as well. And you also have Ivy Nile, who, let's face it, is a part of American Alpha and getting a pretty good feature on WWE TV. So predicting the Final Four is difficult. Predicting the finals is even more difficult. Like you honestly could make a point for pretty much everybody who is a quote-unquote favorite in this tournament. Dakota Kai's been there for a long time. She's definitely a favorite that people want to see win the title. Raquel Rodriguez is alongside of Liv Morgan, and they really need to build up Raquel, and if they wanted to recreate kind of like this dynamic of Shawn Michaels and Diesel, you could have Raquel hold on to the IC championship while Liv Morgan is holding on to the world championship. Both Lyra and Zelina both have a case for why they should be in contention. Zelina because she's been there a while and deserves an opportunity opportunity in Lyra Valkyria because she's damn talented. And then again, like I said, Kairi Sane, Natalya, even Alba Fire to an extent, all have a reason for being the Intercontinental Champion. But if I was a betting man, I personally see this finals being some sort of combination of either Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria, Dakota Kai versus Kairi Sane, or Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria. The more I think about it, the more I don't think Zelina Vega is going to win this thing. However, if she did win against Lyra Valkyria, I think she's my favorite then to win the whole tournament. But maybe this is a little bit more predictable for you guys than it is for me, because I think there's a lot of possibilities for different people to win this Intercontinental Championship, and it doesn't necessarily need to be like a massive story. The story could just be that they won the IC championship and then they go on to defend this thing a bunch of times, similar to how Kalani Jordan captured the NXT North American championship and then she goes to defend that a bunch of times, right? It made the title feel bigger, but it wasn't necessarily the biggest story coming out of the title win. So I wonder if Natalya is maybe that person. Let me know your thoughts though. Who do you think is going to be the first ever women's IC champion? Just a thought, the World Heavyweight Championship should be a triple threat between Priest, Finn, and Gunther. In a direct callback to SummerSlam, Dom comes out with Finn thinking he's there to cheer him on, but instead, Dom costs him the match, maybe even Priest wins, double satisfy for him, karma for Finn. The ending of that, I'm not really sure what you're saying right there, but the idea of Dominik Mysterio costing Finn Balor an opportunity at the World Heavyweight title, I'm kind of here for that, and I'm also really here for the idea of it being a triple threat. I don't love the idea of Finn Balor versus Gunther one-on-one. I personally feel like we skipped a part of the story to get there, but now if we were to add in Damian Priest, all of a sudden Finn Balor, Damian, and Gunther, that dynamic with Dominik Mysterio on the outside of the ring is a very interesting World Heavyweight Championship match. And we may still get that. We have one more week until Saturday night's main event, so they might just plug Damian Priest into this match. And if we look at the card for Saturday night's main event as well, there's a lot of singles matches already announced. The addition of a triple threat with this dynamic would be very, very beneficial for that show. And even inside of the triple threat match, if you were to have basically Finn Balor cost Damian Priest the matchup, but then also Dominik Mysterio cost Finn Balor the matchup, then you could keep this self-doubt that Gunther has going on moving forward. I don't think that needs to be rectified from this feud. I don't think Gunther should win cleanly against both Finn Balor and Damian Priest if this was a triple threat, or even if he should win cleanly against just Finn Balor if it is a one-on-one match, because we have to keep that self-doubt moving forward. So yeah, the addition of Dominik Mysterio costing Finn Balor, even if it was a one-on-one match, is probably the right call, especially considering Finn Balor and Dominik Mysterio could be the feud needed to elevate Dominik to like the mid-card title picture. Hell, he's already facing for the World Heavyweight Championship. He might already be in contention for the world title. But this is a deep story that needs a satisfying conclusion, and Dominik Mysterio interjecting himself and getting involved and costing Finn Balor this match, oh, I need to see that. Punk versus Rollins must be the WrestleMania main event. It's bigger than any other story. Right up until War Games, I think I would agree with the statement that Punk versus Rollins must be the WrestleMania 41 main event, whether it be night 1 or night 2. Probably night 1. But coming out of War Games, I'm not so sure anymore. With the views that CM Punk and Roman Reigns pulled in, I wonder if WWE is considering pivoting one more time with Seth Rollins and CM Punk. If they're going to continue to try to drag this feud along to prolong it until maybe SummerSlam next year, or maybe all the way to WrestleMania 42. I could see WWE saying this is going to be really, really big the longer we wait for this match to happen. And that is true. I do feel like the longer we go here, keeping the tension between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, the better the feud and the match is going to be. Point in case, last night on Monday Night Raw, that insane promo between CM Punk and Seth Rollins was so good, and we're just getting a little taste of it again. Like, I don't even think we are fully leaning into this feud yet. It seems like there's so many mixing of stories right now that their paths were bound to cross again. But as CM Punk said, he's not focused on Seth Rollins. He wants the world title. He wants the WWE Championship. He wants the WrestleMania main event. and Seth Rollins can't offer any of that to him. So it makes me wonder if the story is eventually going to be holding off on CM Punk and Seth Rollins until Seth Rollins has something that CM Punk really wants. Maybe Seth Rollins goes back after the World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe Seth Rollins takes that title away from him, and maybe it's Seth Rollins versus CM Punk down the line for the title like we wanted in the first place. Or maybe it just happens at WrestleMania 41 and they do Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in the main event of night one, and a lot of people would be thrilled for that. I personally don't think that that's a bad idea either, especially if the conversation is Cody Rhodes, Rock, and Roman Reigns in a triple threat match, because if you have those three in a triple threat, then you kind of lose the main event of night one. That's clearly main event of night two, so night one needs a big match, and if you really wanted to, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is a massive match. The other one could be, say, Gunther versus John Cena for the World Heavyweight title, and John Cena in a main event at WrestleMania again. But imagine if John Cena steals another main event match from CM Punk. Oh, see, that's why CM Punk needs the favor from Paul Heyman, because he knows Cena's coming back to steal that main event slot. He's like, Paul, please don't let it happen again. I need this one favor. But regardless of when this match happens, I'm so invested in CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Let me know, when do you guys think we're going to eventually get this match? But that's all the time we have for hot takes here today. Let me know any others that you have down in the comments below. And also, while you're down there, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back every single day right here, because we upload wrestling videos every single day. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.